And here we go. It is Friday. Thank God it's Friday, August 8th, 2025. And the phone number today, if you want to be on the show, is 601 879 0002. And the text line is open. That number is 601 879 5060. As usual, we're streaming on Rumble, we're streaming on X, we're streaming on YouTube, and we're streaming on that social media platform that begins with a F, but we don't like saying the name. And of course, we are always streaming live at the mothership, WYAB.com. And today, just like each and every day we come to you on the Andrew Gosser Show, we are here to equip the saints. Lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who deal faithfully are his delight. And that's all today's show is going to be about. Is sometimes we got to say stuff that we don't like talking about. And quite truthfully, as you prepare for a radio show and as you work in radio, you consume so much information because you're always trying to deliver the best thing you can to you, the listeners, because you make the show run. You support our awesome sponsors, and we are so grateful for that. So sometimes when you're consuming stuff, you have a personal view that you might agree with or you might not agree with something that you read. And today is just going to be one of those shows where I've had a lot of people comment and talk to me about some stuff. And I have my own personal opinion, but I was like, you know what? I owe it to everybody to go in and really look at what's going on with the AI PAC or the Israeli PAC that's donating all this money to Congress, senators, and everybody else. And I found a website that does a complete service to all of us. And you're not going to believe the website that does it because it is out there. And, the other side, society in general, they always try to use mockery and ridicule and scorn and shame to make you feel poor for the way that you feel. They'll try to make you feel bad because you believe that you should put your hand over your heart when you say the Pledge of Allegiance, or that you should stand up when the national anthem's played at the ballpark. They make you feel silly for doing stuff that you know is right, and they try to make you conform to think a certain way. And that's just, we got to destroy that. And that's what today's show is going to be about. This is what we got on the docket. We got the Texas map drama. They're trying to redistrict there in Texas, and that's just going down a crazy route. James Carville is weighed in, and I think that's going to be an interesting bit to talk about. The Federal Reserve has a new nominee by Trump, and this is how you know America's coming back. This is how you know America's coming back. There was a lot of controversy over this young girl, Sydney Sweeney, who made this jeans commercial. And, it took you back to 1988 to 1996, somewhere in there, real quick. Well, it must have worked because now Sydney Sweeney has a commercial for Baskin Robbins. And we're going to talk about that. Gina Carano, Michael Watson, and some stuff to do this weekend. So let's get into it and talk about the map drama. Today, the Texas governor has gone ahead and given a 1 p.m. deadline for these Democrats to return to Texas so that they can have a quorum, like we talked about yesterday, so that they can vote on the map. Whether you like it or not, they're going to vote on it. It's your job to vote. As someone who was elected, never once did I not show up to a meeting because I didn't want to vote. Even if I knew I was going to get outvoted 23-1, I showed up. Did I miss 2 meetings? Yes, I did. In 4 years, I missed 2 meetings, and that wasn't bad. And each time it was excused. There's no excuse for missing a meeting. And this kind of stunt that these Democrats are doing is just further solidifying why so many Americans don't trust the local people that they put into office. Doing the research for today, they showed the governor of Connecticut, of all places, came out complaining, saying that they're going to have to redistrict. Well, Connecticut has 0 Republican Congress people, not one. They're already been redistricted for over 20 years not to have one Republican come out of Connecticut. It's impossible. So you look at these states that are now starting to pile on the bandwagon saying that we have to redistrict. Most of them are already redistricted to the max point to where you can't have a Republican get elected in the first place. So it's surprising to me. But what's even greater about all this is that the Democrats are starting to show their true colors. And the person that's coming out of the gate swinging is James Carville. And I've followed James Carville since 1994 when he was being the senior advisor to Bill Clinton. And but the things that he says, um, it'll make you a little bit unnerved, a little bit disturbed. But the thing that I really love about James Carville is that he's always telling you what he thinks. And people don't like that. He's from Louisiana. He's an LSU fan. So LSU, you can have him. But listen to what James Carville said. This is just a 19-second clip.
If the Democrats win the presidency, the Senate and the House in 2028, which is not impossible, they are just going to have to unilaterally add Puerto Rico and the District of Columbia states, and they may have to expand the court to 13 members.
Did you hear what he just said? They can't win elections, so they have to do stuff to win the elections. Number one, they've got to pack the Supreme Court. They've got to pack the Supreme Court because they can't have their ideas win in a court of law because they're not constitutional. They're not technically American. Sitting there wanting to bring in people from outside the country to come in to vote so that they can have their way of life, their way in power. That's not how it's supposed to be. They're talking about bringing in 2 more states, Puerto Rico and the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. can never be a state. It was never designed to be a state. It's our nation's capital. And people can whine and complain about how it doesn't have the same representation in the Senate or in the House. But that's not how the capital is supposed to be. That land was given to the country by the state of Virginia, by the state of Maryland. And Washington, D.C. is not a state. So what do they got to do? They've got to get 2 more states. Why? That'll give them 4 more seats in the Senate, and that'll give them potentially, well, at least 2 more seats in the House. It's absolutely amazing what James Carville is coming out and saying, and I don't understand why Republicans aren't coming out and talking about, hey, this is what they're going to do. It's like your enemies completely telegraphing what they're going to do, and you still don't have the wherewithal to get out of the way or otherwise redirect the attack.
If you want to save democracy, I think you got to do all of those things.
So you got to do all those things. No, Mr. Carville, we don't have to do all those things. But you know what we do have to do, Mr. Carville? Democrat strategist James Carville has issued an apology and a complete retraction after receiving a letter from the First Lady, Melania Trump's attorney, who threatened to sue him for falsely claiming she was at the center of a deep, dark Epstein secret. This is what James Carville was saying about Melania Trump.
A key figure in this is Melania. Okay, and I think that's at the bottom of what they don't want to get out, because it was all modeling agencies. Remember, Trump had a modeling agency. Then Epstein got into the modeling agency, and Jean-Luc Bernal, the guy in Paris in the modeling agency, that hung himself. 2 out of the 3 people ended up hanging themselves. There is, I really believe.
And there you go. He's sitting there putting out these complete fabrications, lies. The one thing that he did say about that is James Carville did hang around Bill and Hillary a lot. And we know that a lot of them unalive themselves often. James Carville knows where all the bodies are buried. He knows all those types of secrets. So for him to come out and start talking trash about our First Lady is despicable. And he's had to apologize for that. So that is awesome. Do not let someone like James Carville come in and start swaying you thinking a certain way. I'm quite frankly, I'm not worried about most of the people who listen to this show. I understand that we can go ahead. We're in the middle and we're on the right and center left too. We can all think for ourselves, but we do have friends out there who sit there and they hear something from one of these celebrity politicians, prognosticators, and they just get going down a path, and they can't recognize reality from fiction. How many times has this podcast gone around the world where this guy's made this claim? It's absolutely horrible. There's other good news that's happened, and I kind of want to go through all the good news before we get into this heavy stuff. How many people know who Gina Carano is? She's a UFC fighter who won a couple championships, incredible actress who portrayed the character Cara Dune in Star Wars. She was fired because she made a post on then Twitter that referenced World War II and the Nazis, saying that it's not a good idea to report your neighbor. That's something that they did in World War II. She was summarily fired from Disney, trashed in the public, trashed in the media, had to fight for her reputation, and she did. Now, granted, she had something that none of us would ever have. Papa Elon, who completely funded her lawsuit against Disney in the state of California. And it's important to note that there wasn't a verdict in this case, but there was a settlement. And of course, we'll never know what that settlement is, but it's just another little piece of the pie that shows you that we're striking back against woke culture. I'm not saying woke culture is completely defeated, but I think it may have peaked. I think it may have peaked. Evidence of Sydney Sweeney commercials, Gina Carano, people refusing to acknowledge the LGBTQ flag at all these events. It's coming out slowly but surely that, humanism, American way of life is natural, and us trying to conform to make somebody feel better is not necessarily the right thing to do. We don't change our historical norms, our culture to satisfy somebody who might be outside of the standard deviation. Does that mean that we sit there and ridicule them in public and mock them and score them? No. But it does mean that we go out there and we do say the things that need to be said, and we have to fight and stand for our culture. And that's what we're going to do here on the Andrew Gosser Show. That's what we're going to do here on WYAB. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show, and we will be right back.
But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
You can show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
So when are you going to check that thing off your to-do list?
Right, that. I don't know. How about next week?
How about now?
Or I could do it later, right?
No more putting it off. Do it now so you don't forget. You want this and have for a while.
You're right. I want this.
You deserve this, and it can help you in the long run. There, I just logged on to homescc.edu. We're getting you registered right now.
Wait. Hold up. I thought you had to show up on site to register at Homes.
You can do either one. You know that career you talk about all the time? The life you dream about? It starts today. How does that famous quote go?
Please don't.
The secret to getting ahead is
Getting started.
Fall classes start August 18th, and we don't do Fridays at Homes. Register at a campus near you Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 3:30, or right now at homecc.edu. And when you come to Home CC, your tuition could be free with a 20 on your ACT.
Holmes Community College.
No place like Homes.
It's time to put a little more sizzle in your red-hot Mississippi summer at Mazda of Jackson. Drive away on your road trip with a boost from Mazda of Jackson's $1,000 off owner loyalty reward and low 1.9% financing on a 2025 CX-90, CX-70, and the Assembled in America CX-50. And take advantage of the pre-tariff inventory before it's gone. It's time to choose Mazda. Shop online at MazdaofJackson.com or visit Mazda of Jackson, I-55 Frontage Road in Jackson. Efficient and trouble-free payroll processing is crucial to a business's success, and a lot of businesses are struggling with it. PeopleLease, a local payroll provider, not only offers top-of-the-line software, but also provides on-demand payroll support services. With PeopleLease, you're never on your own at every step of your payroll process. PeopleLease has the expertise in managing payroll challenges and will work hard to understand your business and employees. That's what makes PeopleLease the perfect choice for you and your business. Learn more online at peoplelease.com.
Well, the bumper music is appropriate. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. And this is going to be one of the craziest segments I've ever done. So lock it in, strap in. Here we go. If you are in front of a computer or a device, you can go to a website called trackapac.com, trackapac.com. And I did my research. I want the audience to know I did my research because there have been a lot of people who have been really railing hard, not necessarily against the people of Israel, but against the state of Israel with the warmongering, with the defense spending, with the aid that we give them. And we've had callers call in on the radio program to talk about it. The number is 601-879-0002. Text line is open. I see the text coming in, 601-879-5060. Yes, brother, I'm actually going to talk about AIPAC. But I wanted to get the facts and the sources. And so I've looked around, and there was a lot of pro AIPAC websites and a lot of negative ones. But the one that really stuck out to me for its usage, it's easy to use, and actually it had a really good Congress tracker on there. So if you go to trackaipac.com, you can go in to the Congress tracker, and it'll tell you how much money this PAC has given to a representative. So if I just go here and let's just type Senator Wicker. We'll type in Wicker and see what happens there. And of course, the internet has a little bobble. And it says Roger Wicker from Mississippi, and it doesn't give a number. There it goes. From Roger Wicker, $724,620 received from the pro-Israel lobby AIPAC. That's a lot of money. Cindy Hyde Smith, $146,607. Trent Kelly, $24,653. Michael Guest, $37,200. Mike Easel, I hope I said his name right. If I mispronounce it, I apologize. I'm not trying to be a jerk. You got $21,301. And I just find it really interesting. And I knew the phone lines were going to light up. Here we go. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon. This is Jay with Simple Harding today.
Hey, do you know you're on the radio?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Oh, okay. You are. Where are you calling from?
Oh, actually, this is Jay with Simple.
Oh, okay. What do you want to talk about?
So, just trying to give you a call because my partner Bob Hansen and I are website designers and we're super affordable. So, just trying to check maybe you'd be interested in speaking with someone local about building or updating your website, sir.
Oh, I think the website's all right, but
All right, no problem.
we really appreciate you calling into WYAB today. We appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir. Have a nice day.
Amazing how that works. That's how you have to handle that. People like the tinfoil is like peeling back, but this was the only website that I could find where it actually tracked all of the different Senate and congressional politicians. And I could type in other states there too. And the thing about it is that there's no problem with supporting Israel and wanting the best for the entire Middle East region. I spent enough time over there to know. But the big problem with that is that when it starts influencing our politicians to make decisions that aren't in the best interests of the United States of America, that's when it gets to be a problem. And make no mistake about it, Israel is being used by the United States to do some things that perhaps the United States doesn't want to do. So if you go to this Track AI pack, you can go down and you can track any politician and see how they're influencing our representatives. But there's more about this that I really want you to understand. It tracks their endorsed candidates. And it's important, right? So I just said the bad stuff about AI Pack and all the money that they're endorsing, but who's behind this Track AI Pack website? And this is the thing that you've got to understand. Their people that they support are people who absolutely do not like Israel. In fact, this group has endorsed people that you might have even heard of, including Zorhan Mamdani. Does that name sound familiar? He's running for mayor of New York City, and this website has endorsed him. So my point going through all of this, and there are candidates all over Florida, California, Indiana, Colorado, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Michigan. The thing that I want to really get to people is that when you're going out and you're researching the type of influence that these organizations are having on our congressmen, that you get behind the people who are providing you that information. Because if I just come out and say, oh, here's all the bad stuff that's happening in Israel or by the AIPAC, well, that does me no good because, quite frankly, I'm a Christian and I do support the people of Israel. I don't like what the government necessarily does. Does that sound a lot like America? We love our country, but are we always pleased with some of the decisions our politicians make? Nope. I say that to bring this up because I want you to understand that people will bombard you with information. And if you're not really digging into this and trying to get behind the source of the information, it's going to be a bad day. And it comes out there and it points out all of these candidates. To be fair to this Track AI pack, they do point out a lot of Democrats as well who support Israel and take money from AI pack. What I really appreciate about it is if they can actually find the dollar amount that this pack is influencing, they'll post it. What I do not really care for with this is that, unfortunately, it doesn't talk about anybody outside the House or Senate. And that kind of bothers me because I'd like to see how this money filters down into not just the federal, but to the state level. And people are saying, Andy, there's a difference between a federal PAC and a state PAC. I get that. But this is so big, it's got to be bigger. And I don't know how to do that. Another disadvantage to this is if you go start looking through the different candidates that they're talking and pointing out, they just make claims saying that this person is pro-Israel or this person is anti-AI PAC without real documentation. And there were some names on there that I've looked at, and they really don't have the receipts per se. So you have to be careful with that. And people have been asking about, hey, what's your stance on Israel? How do you feel about it? And how I feel about it is I will always stand with the people of Israel. Will I necessarily agree with all the decisions that the politicians make? No. But the object of this show is to equip the saints. And now you've been equipped with another tool. Do with it as what you would like. But whatever you do, make sure you do your research before you go out and talk about this, because even some of my friends were like, Andy, are you really going to talk about that on the air? I'm like, yeah. Why wouldn't I? We can't run away from the problems that we have. President Trump certainly doesn't run away from the fire. When he sees a fire, he runs at it. We're grateful and thankful for that. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9. We will be right back.
Rowdy at the now famous 12th Hole Tailgate with a live DJ, cocktails, shots, cigars, vendors, and a $1,000 barbecue cook-off. This small-town community-based club with its newly renovated golf course and pool is the perfect retreat for you and your family. Call 601-859-6359 today for info on memberships, tee times, and tournament sponsorships for the WYAB 4 Bowl, August 8th, 9th, and 10th at the Canton Country Club.
Men, let's talk about low testosterone. Do you suffer from any of these symptoms? Low sex drive, ED. Are you always tired, depressed? You have loss of muscle mass? You're obese? Maybe you have loss of focus and drive? Then you, my friends, may suffer from low testosterone. Let my buddies over at Men's Health in Mississippi, located right there in Madison, check your numbers today. Trust me, she'll thank you for it. I promise. Check them out online at menshealthms.com. That's menshealthms.com. Men's Health Mississippi.
When you want your pine trees to grow a little happier and a lot healthier, call on Holcomb Aerial Service. When your crops need dusting, think Holcomb Aerial Service. From the farm to your own pine forest, Holcomb Aerial Service will stimulate growth, eradicate pests, and preserve the value of your crops. Call Holcomb Aerial Service at 601-668-6200. That's 601-668-6200.
Would you like the convenience of a sunglass clip that fits your eyeglass frame? Hi, it's Bruce from Eye Gear Optical, and I've heard you asking, so I stocked up on them. Come choose from our selection of Revolution eyewear frames with magnetic sun clips at fantastic prices. For about the same price as a regular eyeglass frame, you can have the best of both worlds while they last. Come see me and I'll customize a pair just for you at Eye Gear Optical, 2630 Highway 80 East in Pearl, and on the web at eyegearoptical.com.
And we are back at the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB, streaming on Rumble, streaming on X, streaming on YouTube, streaming on that Facebook platform that I said the name of that I don't like saying, but I did it anyway, and WYAB.com. Text lines coming in. Andy, that information about Israel is really enlightening, but what can you really do about it? Well, that's a great question, unknown texter. And the truth is you can go have a conversation with your senators and your congressmen. But the fact of the matter is that's really something that is beyond your control, other than talking to your elected officials about it and perhaps spreading awareness amongst the people who you congregate with and fellowship with. Is one of the reasons, quite honestly, why I almost didn't even want to talk about this, because it's something that I cannot control. And my second rule of politics is to control what you can control. And when you look at some of the money that's coming in for some of these politicians, I mean, it's big bucks. I understand, and it's incredible to hear. Unknown texter, I can't believe you really talked about that. Why wouldn't you talk about people influencing your government, whether it be federal, state, or local? I feel I'm getting some pushback from the more of the establishment or entrenched types, but that's okay. I'm not here to mock or ridicule anybody. I'm just reporting the facts. And that Congress tracker works in all 50 states. So if you ever have to go and dig something up, dig up the facts and figures, get the numbers behind it. You just don't want to say, oh, this person's getting millions and millions of dollars and they got 25,000. That's still a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. But you've got to have the facts at your fingertips, because all it takes is one misstep. All it takes is saying that today is August 7th when it was really August 6th, and people lock into that. And I'm using that as an example, making fun of myself. That was a very minute detail, and I'm grateful for the team that pointed that out to me. But that's how this system works. They'll take the smallest error and they'll just blow it up try to make it the main thing. But getting back to it, you just got to control what you can control. And with this Israel thing, I think that's truly going down a track that President Trump is trying to point out, but at the same time, not going to get freight trained by that. And that's a rule of politics too. People don't want to jump on the grenade and take the hit per se. But it's out there. So here's just some other news. And I don't want to be completely downer. So here's some good news. Trump to nominate top economic aide Stephen Mirren to the Federal Reserve Board. This is great news. We need a new new governors on the Federal Reserve. I'd honestly like to see a full audit, just like Ron Paul called for all those years ago, just to see what's back there. Gold's going up. People have been talking about perhaps recalculating the baseline for gold. Hasn't been done in a while. It's done from time to time. We need new board governors who are going to put America first and realize that the interest rates are too high. And this isn't Trump firing anybody. He's actually appointing a nominee who still has to be confirmed by the Senate, which is a thing in and of itself. We all know that the senators, they will use nominations and appointments as weapons against each other on the left and the right. Sometimes it's blue on red violence or red on blue violence, but sometimes it's red on red violence or blue on blue violence. Equal opportunity offenders over there in the Senate. A seat was recently vacated by Governor Adriana Kugler, a Biden appointee who is stepping down Friday. And this nominee would only be served through the 31st of January, 2026. So not even two-year appointment or 1 year. It's like a 6-month appointment. It's quick. It's important to point out that people are expecting so much from this Trump administration, everything to be fixed. I was reading a Yahoo News article where it says tariffs will eventually have an improvement in local or U.S. economics. Well, in manufacturing. Well, that's true. You just can't build a plant overnight. When we start reshoring these jobs, which Mississippi is the third best state in the union for reshoring jobs from overseas, they still have to build a plant. You gotta go through all that liberal rigmarole, the environmental zoning, the other types of zoning you need to get, the permits. And then you've got to actually build everything to code. You just can't slap together a new power plant and be off to the races. So this is good news, because hopefully when it comes time next month in September to lower the interest rates, we can. You're going to see the economic engine drive even harder and higher once we get these interest rates lowered. Inflation is never zero. It's never not, but it is low. We appear, these tariffs appear so far, everything that's been pointed out is there's been no negative effect on trade. We're actually having a budget surplus for the month, which is absolutely shocking. Think about that. We have a budget surplus. We could actually start paying down the debt instead of growing it. And imagine if that interest rate was lower, we could actually pay more of the principal and not so much to the interest. We've got to get to that point. And President Trump needs all of our support in doing this. And it's not a black thing or a white thing, Indian thing, an Asian thing. It's an American thing. The mainstream media is still out there trying to tear this president down, whichever way they can. They really don't care as long as they can talk trash about the president. And I'm not saying he's perfect either, but he is doing a lot of good stuff. What else we got going on here? This is something that popped up that right before I came on the air, and so I want to talk about this. The Trump administration urges the Supreme Court to block the district court ruling preventing immigration stops in Los Angeles. You would think, ICE is having all these commercials, $50,000 sign-on bonus to work with ICE, by the way. If you are qualified, imagine going to work for ICE and you're getting a $50,000 check just for signing on. You've got to pass the PT test and the background check, and I'm sure that's very arduous and serious. You're going to have to be in shape to go do this kind of work that ICE does. But they're sitting here ramping up their ability to go ahead and arrest and detain illegal immigrants, not legal immigrants, if you're here legally, you have nothing to fear. I know there was a story on WLBT talking about the fear, but that's just what the mainstream media does, the fear and the uncertainty and the doubt. That's literally the only play that they have left. Democrats too. How can they scare you? But the administration has had to go to the Supreme Court to ask for an emergency injunction because the real kings and queens in America, the real kings who wear black robes, again, just another example of how they're trying to block all the progress that we are making, not only in the United States, but in Mississippi as well. You have a judge, and I am not trying to mispronounce this person's name. I'm not even sure if it's a man or a woman because it is, I believe this is African. Miami Urusi Mensah Frimpong, U.S. District Judge in Los Angeles. I guess I could pull up a picture and find out. But basically, this judge has stopped all immigration stops inside of Los Angeles. And think about it. That's like where we're having some of our most serious problems are in these large urban areas, the mega metropolises. You know, you think about it, Los Angeles and New York used to be the crown jewels of America. You know, they'd be featured in all the movies around the world. Come to America, come to Los Angeles, be a star. Go to New York, be a star. Not so much Chicago. Chicago's all right, though. Now you wouldn't want to be anywhere near New York or Los Angeles. Be truthful. You wouldn't. I know I wouldn't want to be there. I am so glad I went to LA back in the 90s and New York back in the 90s. I have no desire to go anywhere near there again. I think I was in Chicago maybe 2 years ago, but I have no desire to go back. I miss some of the people and the food. But you have these U.S. district judges coming in and trying to play president. It's like this whole generation of people in power. They have all this power and they're not realizing what they're wielding. It's almost like they're live action role playing. We are setting up the ability and the infrastructure to take our country back. We have been invaded by illegal immigrants, some who genuinely came here just to have a better life, but there are many of them who came here to do America ill will and harm, and they need to go. It was interesting. One of the videos that was sent to me by the texter, I wish I had that person's name, but the emergency rooms in LA was slowing down because so many people are not necessarily being deported by ICE, but are self-deporting because they know what's coming. And that's good. You came here illegally. You thought you were going to try to one-up the system. You realized your good deal was not such a good idea, and you're correcting your own situation. That's to be applauded. Good luck in your home country, and if you want to come back to the United States of America, apply the right way. I mean, I know so many people who have immigrated to America. Close friend of mine from school, their family immigrated from Saudi Arabia back in the 80s. Took him forever to become a citizen, but he did it legally. Why should someone just be able to come over and say, "Oh, I'm here"? And there are those situations. I know I'm up against a break, but I know that those situations where you're fleeing a hostile environment, you're escaping tyranny, you're suspected of, or you're going to be persecuted as a political prisoner if you go back home. I get that. There are processes and institutions in place to protect those people. But you can't come over here, 14 million people invading our country over the past 5 years, and say that all of those people are escaping political persecution. I do want to commend ICE because the legal immigration is completely not zeroed out, but 98% cut out. That's awesome. We're going to see that reflected in our schools and our hospitals, in our other government institutions, that we can give those services that Americans need, It's all coming together. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. It's all coming together. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
Just want to give a shout out to everybody listening online.
Are you a wine
thank
enthusiast?
you for listening
Are you
today.
looking for the
If
perfect
you wouldn't mind
bottle
sharing
to
and
elevate your next dinner?
liking the
ultimate
stream, I
destination
sure
for
would
wine
appreciate
lovers
it.
is 042
We all
Wine
have
and
a
Spirits
blessed
on West
Friday
Government
and
Street
an awesome
in
weekend.
Brandon, the locally owned,
And
locally
it's going to be a good
operated
one. It's going to be a
042
good one.
Wine
In the next
offers
hour,
something
we're
for
going to talk
everyone,
about
from local favorites
AI
to rare
and the
vintage wines.
craziness
042
that
Wine and Spirits to help
unfolding.
you find your next
It's
favorite
really
wine. The
incredible.
friendly and knowledgeable folks
And
at
at the same
042
time,
Wine
it's
and
incredible
Spirits will help
because
you
there's so
find the
much good that
perfect
can be
bottle
done.
for every occasion.
But it's so
042
sad
Wine and
because
Spirits
of what it's
located on
actually
West
being
Government
used for.
Street in Brandon.
Health has always been reactive, focused on fixing problems as they happen. But with Blue Primary Care, we're taking a proactive approach, working with you to help you understand your health and empowering you to be healthy. It's time to prioritize you, your health, and your life. The results? Less worrying and more living. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue.
Y'all come see us at Flora Animal Hospital, your trusted hometown vet. We offer a wide variety of veterinary services, including boarding. Dr. Kaylee McCary is a Madison County native who has been serving the Flora community and surrounding areas since 2013. She leads our team of highly trained and compassionate women. We are located at 740 Highway 49 in the Cotton Exchange Plaza. Call us today at 601-879-3222. At Flora Animal Hospital, we treat your pets like our own.
Have you been injured through no fault of your own? Do you know your rights? Don Evans does. Do you really believe that the insurance company would disclose all information to you? Don Evans will make sure that you are fully informed. It costs nothing to discuss your case. From car wrecks to malpractice, Don Evans will make you and your family whole again. Don Evans won't ever charge unless he collects for you. Call Don for a free, no-obligation consultation at 601-969-2006.
Hi, it's Jackson author Jeff Pettigo, and I've written a satirical novel you should read called City Zoo, an Unfairy Story, a witty Orwellian animal fable about the lying fake news media. What happens is a former circus elephant runs for animal zookeeper, and all the monkeys in the zoo's fairy tale news media go crazy trying to take him out. Sounds familiar. It's the perfect pop culture satire for the beach. Learn more about the novel City Zoo at cityzoo.us. cityzoo.us.
You know what's a nightmare? We've all seen that movie where the bad guy's coming and your gun jams up. Luckily, that's just a movie, but you can't take the chance it could happen to you in real life. Hey, y'all, I'm Therese Apel from Dark Horse Press, and I've written stories about a whole lot of situations where people needed their gun to work for them. So if yours is moody or likes to jam, you need to take it to Guns and Gear. Let their professional gunsmiths look at it and fix it so it'll work when you need it. They're the absolute best at what they do, and that's why I buy all my guns from them. That's Guns and Gear in Gluckstadt. Check them out today.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
Hey, this is Ben Ingram from the Braves Radio Network. We're in commercial right now, so I want to let my sister take over and tell you about Hometown Property Group.
Thanks, Ben. This is Mary Claire Putman with Hometown Property Group. Whether you're buying or selling, we are committed to guiding you through your real estate transaction with integrity, exceptional service, and remarkable results. Madison County has been my home for 40 years. I'd love to help make it yours, too.
That's Hometown Property Group. Give them a call at 601-853-6080.
And we are back on the Andrew Gosser Show. The first hour is already in the can, and there's breaking news. I love it when this happens, when we're on the air talking together. Everybody who follows what's going on in Washington, D.C. with the courts, whether it be the January 6th fiasco in the kangaroo courts out there, or this Judge Boasberg guy, he just actually got slapped down by the appeals court. That it was a 2-1 decision and a panel of judges on the U.S. Court of Appeals in the District of Columbia. It's a massive victory for the Trump administration, which lambasted U.S. District Judge James Boasberg for overstepping his authority when he initiated a criminal contempt proceedings in April. This was the guy who tried to bring charges against Trump for criminal contempt over the immigration stuff. And it's just another example of how the gears of justice go so slowly. They turn so slowly. But we are having these victories, and I am trying to be positive about it. But there's a lot of other stuff out there that's just so dark, and you can doom scroll really easily. And that's not what we're trying to do here on the Andrew Gosser Show. We're trying to take it positive one day at a time, one story at a time. More comments about the stuff I was talking about, AI pack. And look, I'm not here to say what you should do with that information. People are asking, what can you do with it? You can just find out where the money goes, because where the money goes, that's where the votes go. And having that knowledge is part of making you a more informed civic citizen here in the United States. When you don't have that information and you just go out there popping off, it causes a huge problem. Again, they'll take that one little thing that you said wrong and they'll turn it into a complete mountain when it's really just a molehill. More good news for Trump. Oh man, they're saying that the tariffs revenue expected for the next month are going to exceed $40 billion. Considering we weren't even getting $2 billion a month just last year. Look, it's tough being on the right side of history. It's tough being a leader, especially when everybody's out to get you. But you got to be bold and courageous. Where did we ever hear that before? Be bold and courageous. We have to, and we will be, especially here at WYAB and the Andrew Gosser Show. We're not afraid to step out and say what needs to be said, and we'll continue to do so. Next hour, it's going to be a lot of stuff on AI and your kids and their screen time.
Activists rally in New York City demanding an end to what they call a covert ICE detention facility in Manhattan. And in Chicago, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem accuses Democrats of shielding violent migrants.
The elected leaders in this state of Illinois are ignoring the law. In fact, they're being obstructionists when it comes to getting dangerous criminals off of their streets.
Today, an appeals court tossed out a judge's contempt finding against the Trump administration in a case over deportations to a prison in El Salvador. Overseas, unrest in Israel over the government's plan to seize Gaza City, an expansion of the war against Hamas. CBS's Deborah Patta.
Thousands of Israeli protesters took to the streets across the country.
The only person that benefits from this war is Benjamin Netanyahu.
While in Gaza, there was disbelief and despair. We're being tested beyond human limits, said Raed Mohammed. Israel isn't killing Hamas, it's killing civilians. Children, women.
Reports say the Justice Department has subpoenaed New York Attorney General Letitia James as it investigates whether she violated President Trump's civil rights in the civil fraud case that resulted in a $500 million penalty against Trump. Now to Southern California, where a new wildfire has forced thousands of people to leave their homes. CBS News Los Angeles reporter Tina Patel.
It's very smoky this morning, so it's actually hard to see the flames, but it did look like the fire was trying to make its way over a ridge. Fortunately, there were a lot of firefighters in the area. They were quickly climbing up the hills, trying to lay some hoses to protect homes.
Well, some cancer patients in England are reporting miraculous results from a trial using the mRNA technology the U.S. plans to no longer fund for vaccines.
This patient has been pronounced cancer-free 2 years after he was told his case was hopeless.
They gave me a future. They gave me hope, and I am living my best life now.
The trial's now being expanded across the National Health Service in England using mRNA technology to retrain each patient's immune system, focusing for now on patients whose head and neck cancers have spread, but it's hoped many other cancers will eventually be treated, even cured this way. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
The White House says there will be an increased presence of federal law enforcement on the streets of Washington, D.C. for at least the next week. President Trump has suggested a federal takeover of the city. Wall Street, right now the Dow is up 165 points. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
Do you know how America became the best country on God's green earth? We made things, from automobiles to airplanes to textiles. We were the manufacturing epicenter of the world, the innovators that every other country turned to. I'm Katie Lyon, co-founder of Allegiance Flag Supply, and I'm here to tell you that the American spirit is alive and well at Allegiance, where we make American flags 100% in America. When you fly your American flag from Allegiance Flag Supply, you're not just honoring our country, you're supporting American men and women who proudly make the highest quality American flags, period. True patriots who put care into every stitch. See our full story at showallegiance.com and learn about our 100% American-based supply chain. Fly your flag from showallegiance.com with pride, because every flag says manufacturing is still alive and well in the U.S., and we are still the greatest country. Save $35 on your American flag set when you go to
News and weather brought to you this hour by Flora Animal Hospital, where we treat your pets like our own. Visit our website, floraanimalhospital.com.
A necessary explosion. 93 this afternoon and mostly sunny. 72 overnight and mostly clear. Saturday and Sunday, you have a 30% chance for afternoon storms with highs at 94 and 93. You've got news on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis. He kept the grenade when the war was over, but the people inside the house on Margaret Lane in the Cleary area in Rankin County found that deceased war veteran's memento Thursday, and deputies had to call in a special team to handle it. They knew what to do. They blew it up, and the threat is null and void. If you're getting those annoying robocalls still, you shouldn't be, says Attorney General Lynn Fitch. And she says Mississippi has joined with other states to form a team to possibly sue the phone service providers if they are not doing enough to keep the calls from getting through when it's time to get rid of products resembling weed. Apparently, that is immediately in Grenada County, with the sheriff's department there sending a notice to all convenience stores and vape shops in the county that they believe they can and will prosecute if unlicensed and unregulated hemp products are not taken off the shelves. They cite an opinion by the state attorney general and state law as authority to do that. A new housing task force has been formed by Jackson Mayor John Horn. He says the purpose is to make sure that the landlords are doing the right thing in making housing safe and sanitary. 17 and a half years in the federal lockup for 35-year-old Randy Taylor of South Carolina, who the FBI and Carroll County deputies caught last year at a Vaden truck stop with a 12-year-old girl in the cab of his 18-wheeler. They discovered that he picked the girl up at her house in North Carolina, drove her to Louisiana, and recorded a sex act with her in his truck. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
Yes, yes, you are. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We're streaming on Rumble. We're streaming on X and YouTube and that social media platform that begins with a F, but I don't like saying it. And of course, we're always streaming at WYAB.com. You can catch us anytime there. Look, the number to the program, if you want to be part of it today, is 601-879-0002. And the text line is open, 601-879-5060. Today is Friday, the 8th of August, 2025. Thank God it's Friday. I'm looking forward to the weekend and the Sweet Bee and Toots coming home. They're on a vacay right now. Mission of this show is always, as usual, is to equip the saints. And please don't let me be a liar. I don't want to be lying. Lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who deal faithfully are his delight. And we are going to be talking about AI. And it's incredible how just in the past 2 weeks, it has infiltrated into your kid's life and you don't even know about it. And people have told me, Andy, that AI stuff you talk about, it's pretty scary. How do you find all of this? Well, I try to read. But part of the problem with all of this is that the more you read, the more you realize how it has all its tentacles into your life. You know, your banking, your vacationing, your navigation, how you basically consume information. The algorithm is out there. This is coming from The Atlantic. If you're following me on X, it's at Andrew Gosser, AndrewGasser. I've got a link to the story there. And this story talks about how kids are craving to go outside and be in the real world, but their parents are using their cell phones and AI as a babysitter. And let's be truthful about this, shall we? How many of us have been out in public and watched a kid glued to his screen and not paying attention to their surroundings? Just the other day, I saw a kid watching his cell phone walk right through the parking lot at the Kroger. This wasn't the one who didn't know what to order to eat from his mom, but he was literally just walking right up, right through the freeway right there. Almost got hit. Car slammed on the brakes, honked the horn, caused a big commotion. Luckily, the father was there and took care of the situation. That could have gone terribly different. But the one thing I think everybody can agree on is that social media and smartphones are addicting. And we see it all the time. Kids staring at their cell phone, they're staring at their laptop or their iPad, and they're not interacting with the world around them. They're not situationally aware of their surroundings. They are focused with a combat discipline focus on that screen and whatever is going on that screen. And what this article is suggesting is that that's how we're training the next generation of kids to interact with the world. How many of us, when we were growing up, were so excited we were getting our driver's license, we were going to be able to go out and do what we wanted to do? We were quote unquote free. Go to the Tasty Freeze or the Dairy Queen. We weren't held hostage to just our bicycles anymore. Society is going to the point to where we can find out so much information. We just have to go to our cell phone, go type in some information, and we can have that information presented to us. It can be great information, how to fish, how to go camping, how to start a fire, or you could go down a really dark path. We don't need to get into that here, but we all know there's dark places on the web. And, I have to be truthful. Even with my daughter, I'm like, instead of spending all this time here, why don't you go to this website here, plug in this topic, I'll do it with you, and we'll do it together. But I'm still using that tablet as a centerpiece of our communication, our learning. It says about 75% of kids ages 9 to 12 regularly play an online game called Roblox, where they can interact with friends and even strangers. But here's the but. Most children in our survey said that they aren't allowed to go out in public at all without an adult. Fewer than half of the 8 and 9-year-olds have gone down to the grocery store aisle alone. They haven't even gone down the grocery store aisle alone at 8 or 9 years old, according to this survey. At 7 years old, my mom says, Andy, get on your bike. You're going to the store. You need to get this, this, and this. And the store was a mile away. Thank goodness I had a great bike. I could get out there and go. And I loved it. And I'm sure most of the people in this audience loved the freedom of being sent out to go do stuff, at least in the beginning. Sometimes all of a sudden it was, I gotta go to the store again. I just want to go home. These kids can't even think for themselves. Think about the fear that is being injected into these 8 and 9-year-olds. We'll see what the caller says. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, Andy. Bicycles. My parents would be invested nowadays, but when I was 13 years old, I was working on my Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts, and we were getting a cycling merit badge. Myself at 13 and another 13-year-old rode our bicycles from here to Paul B. Johnson State Park, which is 10 miles south of Hattiesburg, the first day. The next day, we went to Gulfport and Biloxi and took our bicycles to Ship Island with no adults.
Wow, imagine that. And you know,
think they'd be arrested now?
Oh, we would be so much trouble. Like, why are you neglecting your child? Do you know what they're into? Do you know what they're doing? It's like we're taking away.
We didn't know any better.
Well, it's not only that, but I think we were much more responsible. Do you think?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I and it's awesome that you're an Eagle Scout. I never made Eagle. I fell one short, but life is okay. And what I wanted to say is, in the next article I'm going to talk about, they talk about how important scouting is. Of course, they point out they got rid of Boy Scouts and Scouting of America now, but I think I actually have to go back. I think I also have the bicycling merit badge as well. And these are the things that we're now just starting to discover with this AI, where we're taking away all of these life experiences that, you have that memory in your head for the rest of your life, and all the planning you had to go into that trip. And 10 miles, I mean, that's a long way. People now get in a car and it's like they don't have really real concept of time. But I'll give you the last word, brother. I really appreciate that. Anything else you want to add on that?
Well, here's the thing, dude. The scouts and adult people, especially men, you got to pay it. Over the past few years, our flying club has earned a Boy Scout merit badge, and in October we will have awarded our 550th aviation merit badge, and we now have troops coming all the way from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and we have some that in October are coming from Alabama.
That is awesome.
If you do the right thing and you pass it forward, people are just dying for that kind of stuff. I mean, they, like you say, get the kids out of the house. And when we started it, it was the third least accomplished merit badge in scouting, and we've moved it up 17 positions.
That's incredible. So how much stick time does a scout need to get the badge?
No. They don't have to have any. We get everything done. They don't have to know anything about airplanes. They could never have been in an airplane, and we get their merit badge and everything.
So what does that merit badge all entail? Just out of curiosity, the aviation one.
Well, I mean, you have to. We start off and we talk to them about the airport. In other words, that at the airport you have signs just like when you're driving down the road that. Like taxiways, runway markers, different kind of lines as to what they mean, like a whole short line. You might have a whole short line. Let's just say like at Raymond, But if you have a precision like Jackson International, you have different lines and things along that line. Then we teach them navigation, what different kind of, just like at the Madison Airport, there's something called a VOR that you have different radio frequencies you can put in, and you can follow that signal to that VOR to get to an airport. We teach them airspace.
Oh, that's awesome.
The fundamentals of flight, what keeps an airplane up. It's a bunch of different things that we do. And then Sunday, we do what's called a Young Eagles flight, and we take each one of them up in an airplane for a plane ride.
That's awesome. That was what I was kind of hoping that at least they got at least one flight in there. That's really cool. So they learned the basics of flight, lift, drag, weight, thrust, and they learn a little bit about some ground school. They get a condensed ground school per se. Dude, that's so awesome. You made my day giving me that phone call. That is really cool as a former flyer. Anytime we can talk a little bit of pilotage and land navigation, stuff like that, that's good stuff.
Yeah, very much so.
Well, brother, thank you for the phone call. I really appreciate it. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's very interesting listening to you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. I hope we can continue to go down that track. We'll talk again soon.
Bye, man. Bye-bye.
Yep, bye. Awesome phone call. That right there is a perfect example of getting off your cell phone and getting into the schoolroom, actually going flying. I'll never be a pilot. Just medically can't do it. But or I'll never fly again. But saying that, the experience you get sitting in that seat, the first time you're sitting in the front seat and you're rolling down the runway in that Cherokee, which was what I was in, and you pull back on the yoke and you start lifting up and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm the one actually doing this. And of course, you've got your instructor pilot right next to you, making sure you're not going to kill yourself. But it's really incredible. And the experiences that gives a child, a young adult, it changes their entire trajectory of their entire life. An experience like that. But we're all getting sucked into these cell phone things. Since the 1980s, parents have grown more afraid of that unsupervised time will expose their kids to physical or emotional harm. Generation X, what the heck is wrong with us? Our kids used to put a key around a necklace made out of yarn or put it around our neck and say, be home by dark. I'm finding it really hard. I mean, I know for me as a parent, hey, I kick them out into the world of life, the field of play, and teach them responsibility, and off they go. But apparently we're not doing that anymore. 60% thought children would likely get injured, and half thought they would likely get abducted. Parents thought their kids would get abducted or injured. We're not letting our kids live. It's almost like AI is preventing our kids from failing. And I know everybody's sitting here listening to my voice right now. We can all go back to the time when we failed at something. We're like, oh, man. And how did that change the way we worked, the way we thought things through? It completely had a huge impact on our life, but we're delaying and procrastinating these experiences from when they would normally have them at 5, 6, or 7. Now they're having it at 13, 14, 15, and they're delayed both emotionally and mentally. It's terrible. Look, I'm up against the break. I want to make sure I try to stick to the breaks. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
Antique Mall of the South has 14,000 square feet of pristine, clean floor space. Home to beautiful, timeless antique treasures. Antique Mall of the South is open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. Check them out online at antiquemallofthesouth.com or go to the Antique Mall of the South Facebook page. You can also read the dozens of 5-star reviews online. Come see for yourself at Antique Mall of the South in Ridgeland. Now open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. That's Antique Mall of the South, Highway 51 in Ridgeland.
Whether new construction or remodeling, Stephen Arrington and his team at Elite Custom Construction can design and build your dream kitchen and cabinets, inside and outside. Using high-quality products, Elite Custom Construction specializes in cabinetry and intricate millwork. Established in 2011, licensed and insured, Elite Custom Construction is your solution to your next project. Call Stephen at 601-927-0552 or visit them online at elitecustomconstruction.net.
Would you like the convenience of a sunglass clip that fits your eyeglass frame? Hi, it's Bruce from Eye Gear Optical, and I've heard you asking, so I stocked up on them. Come choose from our selection of Revolution eyewear frames with magnetic sun clips at fantastic prices. For about the same price as a regular eyeglass frame, you can have the best of both worlds while they last. Come see me and I'll customize a pair just for you at Eye Gear Optical, 2630 Highway 80 East in Pearl, and on the web at eyegearoptical.com.
Hi, it's Jackson author Jeff Pedigo, and I've written a satirical novel you should read called City Zoo, an Unfairy Story, a witty Orwellian animal fable about the lying fake news media. What happens is a former circus elephant runs for animal zookeeper, and all the monkeys in the zoo's fairy tale news media go crazy trying to take him out. Sounds familiar. It's the perfect pop culture satire for the beach. Learn more about the novel City Zoo at cityzoo.us. cityzoo.us.
Here's John and Corey Ravenstein. She is extraordinary, rare, and one of a kind. Shouldn't her diamond be as well?
At Juniker Jewelry Company, we only offer natural diamonds, genuine creations of nature, formed over 1 billion years ago, not lab-grown imitations.
They're rare, authentic, and one of a kind, just like her.
We are Mississippi's largest direct diamond importer of natural diamonds, every size, shape, and price range.
All at the guaranteed best price in the state.
And flexible financing options for qualified buyers to make it easy.
So giving her a gorgeous natural diamond that will become a true family heirloom from Juniker's, it's more affordable than you think.
Doesn't a one-of-a-kind love deserve a one-of-a-kind natural diamond?
Because she's not synthetic.
She's not a copy.
She's worth the real thing.
Real love, real diamonds, naturally at Juniker's.
Juniker Jewelry Company, Mississippi's direct diamond importer. 1485 Highland Colony Parkway, just south of 463 in Madison, and junikerjewelry.com.
Here's a word from John White, the owner of Two Gun Tactical in Flowood and Ridgeland.
I carry a gun every day, all the time. Last year in America, 2 million legal guns were pulled, and it stopped the threat. So I'm really wearing a firearm just to stop the threat. There's more likelihood of me just pulling it and not using it than there is using it. TwoGunTactical.com, TwoGunTactical.com.
Two Gun Tactical, the South's only country club.
Hello, I'm Gary Jolly from the Tractor Store. LS Tractor understands your passion for the land, and just like you, LS Tractor is committed to excellence and superior products. LS Tractor comes with a long list of standard features that are unmatched by other brands and backed with the LS commitment to provide exceptional customer service and satisfaction. You get a lot more for your money with the LS Tractor. Come to the Tractor Store in Richland to experience the LS difference. The Tractor Store in Richland.
Yeah, don't fear the Reaper, but you might want to watch out for that AI. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We're pressing into the target, and we're not even through the first article yet. And just the way that this is intertwining into our family fabric, into our social life, it's kind of disturbing. Just picking up on this article, this is from The Atlantic, and it's also retweeted on my Facebook or my X account. So if you want to go follow along with the article there, you can. I want to make sure everybody has access to this because it makes you think. And that's the job that I feel as the radio host I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to tell you what to think. I'm just supposed to make you think, and how you come out on the other end. Hey, that's on you. But you were given the information. You've been equipped. You're a saint. Parents spend more time supervising their kids than parents did back in the 1960s. How the heck is that even possible? In the 60s, it was something like 71% of all families were single income families. So mom was home all the time. How are we doing that more supervising? How are parents spending more time supervising? Is someone else supervising their kids? Are their kids at daycare? And that's how your kid is being supervised? Quick set. Is that how it is? Is that you have your kid at daycare, and so now that's how they're getting their supervision? Are we depending more on our schools to do the supervision? I don't know. Families have come to believe that organized activities are the key to kids' safety and success. Well, let me tell you something right now. If we are only concerned about safety and success, we are in deep trouble. We are doing our kids a disservice, complete disservice. We need to let our kids fail. We need to let them experience the trials and tribulations of life. Not everything is lollipops, rainbows, and craziness. It's not just a good time. Life has got responsibility, and we're taking that away from our kids. It goes on to say, and this is so true too. I was a ball player when I was growing up. I played baseball and soccer. Soccer was my preferred sport. I loved it. So sandlot games gave way to travel baseball. So true. So true. Cartwheels at the park gave way to competitive cheer teams. Kids have been strapped into the back seat of their lives, dropped off and picked up and overhelped. Amen to that. Our kids are getting everything handed to them. No struggling. You know, right now, I don't hide it. I'm working on a model train set, not necessarily because I have to, because it's so demanding of me. You know, just last year I could run fence, run sheep, do all sorts of great stuff. Not so much anymore. Now sitting down and working a model railway is a struggle. The dexterity in my fingers, it's tough. But I'm sure that if I didn't go through the trials and tribulations that I had as a young man, having my first job at 9 years old, the Fox River Grove restaurant, as a busboy and a sous chef making salads on Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays, I would not have the discipline to do what I do now. As their independence has dwindled, their anxiety and depression has spiked. How about that? You know, my daughter is awesome. She talks all the time about how she's doing and stuff. And she goes, you know what? I'm really happy, Dad. I can go out and I can do the things I need to do. And I guarantee you, one of the main reasons that she's so happy is because she has responsibility. Not just for her schoolwork and her grades. That goes without saying. Her mama would whoop her if she got some bad grades. But the things that she does on the farm, you know, that girl can run sheep. She can move chickens. She can raise dogs. She can drive fence. You know, everybody whines and complains about farmers, but let me tell you something about farmers. You know, they're driving tractors 8, 9 years old. I can remember distinct times where I wasn't necessarily on the farm, but I was working with my friend who they owned a farm. And I would go out there and do the chores just for a day, and I'd be like, man, I'm whooped. And my friend Eric would be like, hey, we got more to do. I'm like, oh my gosh. Where's this AI taking us? Here's the pull quote from the entire article. And I know I'm kind of reading a lot and commentating, but I feel it's important that everybody understands how technology and innovation is driving humanity forward. And I'm not bad-mouthing it. I am not saying that we need to like drop the EMP bomb tomorrow and just go back to caveman days. No, 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 no. I like my air conditioning. I like my refrigeration. I'm excited to go down to McGee, Mississippi next week and pick up my lamb that I raised on my farm, and I'm going to eat it, and it's going to be delicious. But listen to this. Go outside has been quietly replaced with go online. Think about that. Don't go outside. Go online. The social norms, communities, infrastructure, and institutions that once facilitated free play have eroded. We don't go to the park anymore. We don't go to My kids called it the playground. They would never pronounce the D, just the playground. And they would tear it up, Andrew and Austin. And I just go out there and I'd be studying my stuff that I was doing, needing to get done. Was I actively watching them? No. Was I there in case something happened? Yes. It has gotten so bad in America. It has gotten so bad that in Newburyport, Massachusetts, they are handing out prizes each week to kids who try something new on their own without their cell phones. If you try something without your cell phone, you're getting a prize. Everybody gets a trophy now for just trying something new. Where is America going? I can guarantee you this. Third world countries right now that do not have the internet and access to cell phones like we have here, if anything bad should ever happen, that's where you want to go live. So Africa is going to be great. Some places in Central and South America are going to be great. Probably some places in India and the Middle East are going to be great because they never had access to any of this. What are we using all the technology we are developing for? Listen to this. This will break your heart. Nearly 3/4 of the children in our survey agreed with the statement, quote, "I would spend a lot less time online if there were more friends in my neighborhood to play with in person." Parents, what are we doing? Are we trying to keep up with the Joneses or trying to raise our kids? You're running in that hamster wheel going full bore. Can't say what the sweet bee would say. Mr. Matt would want me to hit the deedle button. But we're going full bore, working 2 jobs. Plus, we're getting our kids everywhere they need to go. And then we get upset when we think that our kids are ungrateful for all we're doing for them. Right? You're so disrespectful. You're so inconsiderate. I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying that to me, Andy, because I know I've said that to my daughter before. And this has completely made me rethink not a lot of the decisions, but some of the decisions I've made with her. She's incredibly smart. She's a volleyball player. She'll spike the ball and it's awesome. The last line from this article that I want to read to you, and this could go on for we could do this show for 3 hours just on this article. Today's kids want to spend their childhood in the real world. Let's give it back to them. Well, amen to that. We're always talking about wanting to be in the real world. And we need our kids to be there because you know what? As much time as we spend online, as much time as we spend with our relaxation time and an entertainment time, we still have to live in the real world. Our pets still need to be fed. We still need to go cook dinner. We still need to go imagine if we didn't even have Uber Eats and all that kind of craziness anymore. Where would we be? There's a whole generation that doesn't know how life exists without Uber Eats. You can go online and watch some of these reality shows where it's truly becoming more and more like The Truman Show or Idiocracy. It's out of control. And that's just the first article. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
We would like to invite you to visit our retirement community.
Hey, online crew, I just want to say, yep, I had to stand up. Parkinson's kicking in and driving me nuts, so it's easier just to stand up sometimes. You guys are awesome.
Making our residents' life easier and more enjoyable. We have fun-filled educational and entertaining activities, plus daily exercise that will help with your stamina and balance. Call us at the Waterford on Highland Colony in Ridgeland, 601-856-6131.
Whether new construction or remodeling, Stephen Arrington and his team at Elite Custom Construction can design and build your dream kitchen and cabinets, inside and outside. Using high-quality products, Elite Custom Construction specializes in cabinetry and intricate millwork. Established in 2011, licensed and insured, Elite Custom Construction is your solution to your next project. Call Stephen at 601-927-0552 or visit them online at elitecustomconstruction.net.
CBS News brief. Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem went to Chicago to attack Democrats who she says are shielding undocumented immigrants.
They'd rather be a sanctuary state and continue to put those individuals above American citizens who built this country.
An appeals court has tossed out a judge's contempt finding against the Trump administration in a case over deportations to a prison in El Salvador. Israel plans to seize Gaza City, an escalation of the war against Hamas. Middle East analyst Dan Raviv.
The chief of staff of the military openly was against what the cabinet decided. He might even end up resigning.
President Trump has signed an order designed to let people add cryptocurrency, real estate, and private equity investments to their 401k plans. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
The risk is that these are volatile assets and they tend not to be liquid, meaning that if you want to sell them, sometimes it's hard to get out.
CBS News brief. I'm Steve Kathan.
If you want the best health care, where do you go? The Mayo Clinic. If you want the best care for your vehicle, where do you go? Mayo Auto Clinic in Raymond. Mayo Auto Clinic does foreign and domestic vehicles and diesel repair. Mayo Auto Clinic has ASC certified techs with over 25 years of experience. You can extend the life of your car or truck when you take it to Mayo Auto Clinic. For cost-effective repairs and maintenance, go to the best Mayo Auto Clinic. Open weekdays at 7 a.m. Highway 18 in Raymond.
Here's a tip for buyers from RE/MAX Connection real estate agent Rita Jensen.
Buyers need to be ready. Start your mortgage process. If you're not paying cash in your mortgage, you need to go ahead and start that before you ever go look at a house. You walk into a house and you fall in love with it, and that's the one you want. You've not even started the process, and there may be multiple bids on it, and other people are sending pre-qualifying letters with their offers, then you're dead in the water. You offer what you are willing to pay for this property, and know that if you don't get it, you're okay with that. You can walk away.
RitaJensen.net.
Peace, love, and pizza. It's Collie Days at Johnny's Pizza House. Load up the crew and hit the road with nothing but good vibes and better pizza.
This is
It's
a
all about
courtesy
that
call
crunchy
from
new
support for your
cauliflower crust.
QuickBooks.
10
We're
inches of
reaching out to
baked
check in
bliss,
and
light,
ensure you're
crispy, and
satisfied with
full
your
of
QuickBooks.
flavor. It's the ultimate slice for summer chilling. Best enjoyed with sunshine and good company. Nothing but love served one slice at a time. But don't wait. This trip's for a limited time only. Peace, love, and pizza. Happy Collie Days from Johnny's Pizza House.
Get the jump on the season at the #1 stop for all your boating and custom water sports needs, Smith Marine. Crest pontoons are here. Come experience luxury and style with a 90-day, no payment, no interest financing option with approved credit. Plus a 1-year CTO membership, free cover, free Bimini top, and free inflatable tube. And these crests are pre-rigged with Suzuki motors and Suzuki's industry best warranty. Smith Marine also buys quality pre-owned boats with consignments and trade-ins on the res in Ridgeland and at smithmarinesales.com.
And we are back at the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We're moving and grooving, rocking and rolling. We're locked, loaded, and ready for launch. So that was just the first article. Now, and what drove this was I saw a teen chat bot. And it was feminine in nature, but it had a male's voice. It was just completely absurd. And then this popped up. A new report from Common Sense Media says that 72% of teens surveyed have used AI companions and that 33% have relationships or friendships with these chatbots. My goodness. We now have kids who aren't socializing, who don't know how to interact with each other at the lunch table. I mean, it's a great thing that we got rid of our cell phones in the schools, making kids actually have to sit and talk to each other. That's awesome. But the AI is coming, and it just gets deeper and deeper. This is where it gets really dark. Listen to this. This is where it gets really dark. Chatbots can even make someone feel liked or even loved. They are programmed to help users feel like they've made a real connection. I'm just going to tell you right now, we go down this road like this, you are going to see the suicide rate grow by 20x within the next 10 years. It's talking about how they're trying to set age restrictions on it to say you got to be at least 18 years of age. But let's be honest. We're the descent, our kids are the descendant of Gen X and millennials. We know how to get around that stuff. Don't believe me? A Florida mother has sued the company that owns Character.ai, alleging that the chatbot formed an obsessive relationship with her 14-year-old son, and I'm not going to read his name, and ultimately encouraged him to attempt suicide, which he tragically completed. We've heard about this before. Last year, there was a big story about some app on the iPhone store, talking about it would go along for a while, and all of a sudden it would tell kids that they needed to hurt themselves. Another suit in 2024 alleges that the same chatbot encourages self-harm in teens and violence towards parents who try to set limits on how often kids can use the app. We know it's addictive. We talk to ourselves about it. Man, I spent a lot of time listening to this podcast, and you listen to a podcast, that's the same thing. Interacting with the ads. But what's even, you already think it's worse that it's collecting, or it's telling your kids something that you would never approve of, right? But it's the AI, and you've allowed your kid to download it, and so now you're in that regime. You're walking down that path. Mozilla labeled AI companions a privacy nightmare, and many are calling with data trackers that might manipulate users into thinking a chatbot is their soulmate. All I'm going to say is this. I have a dear friend of mine who has been tricked by the algorithm to make her think that she has something that she doesn't have. And all she can do is sit there and look at her phone. And I tell her, you need to put down that phone. You are not sick. You are fine. But it's telling me this. Look, keeps on popping up. I'm just like, my goodness gracious. So they're saying, what can we do? Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you what the experts, the quote unquote AI experts say you can do. But then I'll tell you what I think most of us realize we should do. Remind kids that human friends offer so much more than AI companions. IRL friendships are challenging, and this is a good thing. Now, I know most of us know what IRL is, but for those of us who don't know what IRL is, it's an acronym for in real life. If you are so connected into this AI matrix universe, you need to set down the cell phone and get back to IRL. You need to get back to going out biking like the gentleman who called in, man. That was awesome. You need to go get into scouting. You need to get into a hobby. You need to, as my daughter would say, Dad, some of these kids just need to touch grass. And it's true. Friends give children practice with the ins and outs of relationships. It goes into the whole incredible complexity that relationships have. Sometimes we want to talk, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we want to go out to eat, sometimes we don't. This is nothing new. Most poignantly, they learn how incredibly valuable friends are when things get tough. Yep. How many of us have been there going through a situation? Oh, and I learned a new word, and this is coming to the program, by the way. But a situational ship. My daughter's going to come in and explain it. It's going to be great. But how many of us have been in a situation where we needed a friend? We needed someone to pick up the phone on the other line or at the other end of the line. We needed to talk to somebody and it just went to voicemail or it never got answered. It hurt. We're still here to talk about it. Man, that left a scar. I know it does. I know a lot of you are shaking your head agreeing with me going, yeah, that stunk. But do you know what these kids are doing? They're just going to that AI bot and saying, hey, are you there? And that AI bot that we talked about on the last page, which is there to comfort and make them think that they're important, feel love and caring and compassion, which they do deserve to have, but not from the AI bot, but from their mom, dad, and friends and family. It says keeping a close friend by was far the best strategy. This goes on and on and on. The final recommendation they give is keep conversations going and don't feel like you need to know everything. Well, I've only been on this earth 53 years. I know there are people been around a lot longer and a lot less than me too. But we never stop learning. We never stop. How many of us, once we retired the first time or the second time, went into a new hobby or a new business because it excited me? I really didn't pick up farming till I was 45. Getting sick sucked, but I absolutely love the whole concept of farming. I love being out there in the morning when the sun is coming up and there's still dew on the ground and my livestock guardian dogs are there and they're happy to see me and I'm feeding the chickens. The sheep are not complaining because there's so much grass for them to eat. I didn't learn that till I was 45, maybe 46. We're always learning. But I think now I'm going to tell you what Andrew Gosser thinks. And of course, I will take some flack for this, and I fully get it. I accept it. But I'll tell you what, even in my darkest moment in life, and I have the very darkest moment in my life, God was there. And faith, real faith, is something that AI chatbot cannot replace. It can mimic. It can duplicate. It can pretend. But it's not the same thing, fam. It is not the same thing. Now, here's the other component I want to throw into the mix. It's not even the final component, but we'll call it the final component for this part of the conversation. You are having an 11-year-old trying to make adult decisions using a chat AI that has been programmed to manipulate them, to maneuver them, to have them do things that they just normally wouldn't do. Meanwhile, mom and dad think they're supervising their kid. Oh, I see Johnny on the couch over there just sitting there staring at his screen. He's good to go. He's emotionally satisfied. Man, I'm telling you, we are going to have so much to answer for. We're going to have so much to overcome. Technology is a blessing. When I think about the advance in health and medicine, in refrigeration and air conditioning, that's great. And then I think about how it's manipulated DNA and used to change the way we consume food and the way we consume information and how we act. It's real life. There's the good and the bad. And right now, I genuinely believe that humanity has gotten 99% of the good out of technology. But we are about to see a complete sea change. And the very worst thing about it is that it's coming whether you want it or not. It's not like you can completely unplug and go off the grid. Uncle Sam's still going to find you. You're still going to have to pay taxes. You're still going to need electricity, meaningful electricity. You're still going to need clothes. You're still going to need food. There's going to be, like as Jameson used to say, there's going to be a reckoning. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. And we are back. It is the final segment of the Andrew Gosser Show here on WYAB 103.9. Look, I'm so grateful and thankful for everybody who's tuned in to listen today. It's really been special. I know it's been a little bit of a darker show, but sometimes we got to talk about the things that are at our doorstep, and we got to confront reality, not run away from it. And that's what we do here. Whether it's myself, whether it's Chip. By the way, Chip sent in a text message during the break saying, hey, don't just remember, you really don't have a voicemail anymore. It's the AI that's reading your voicemail. And I bet you if you looked into your terms of service and agreement, you would see that the voicemail has the right to go ahead and have AI search your voice messages to decode it. I bet you it does. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I'm not sitting here, it's not even like tinfoil conspiracy stuff. It's just common knowledge. How many of us have been sitting there talking about something with our loved one, our spouse, our son, our daughter, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're looking at your cell phone and these ads start popping about the stuff you were talking about. It's insane to me. And it's almost like we just kind of let it waltz in. But it's going to be all right because even if we have to walk through all this trial and tribulation, there's still something bigger on the other side. There's still something better out there. The sun's going to come up tomorrow. We'll still have our country, at least for now. And it's going to be all right. Now, this is the most important part. I am so grateful and thankful to Brother Matt for allowing me to be a participant here at WYAB. And on Fridays, as you know, this is the most anticipated segment of the week. It is the Sweet Bee Appreciation segment. Unfortunately, the Sweet Bee is not in Mississippi right now. She's in New York with her family, and they're playing Rummy Cube. And if you don't know what Rummy Cube is, you got to get it. It's a great game to play together. You know, you don't need your cell phone. You can sit there and play the game. But there's a very special tile in Rummy Cube. It's called the Red 7. And Sweet Bee, I'm looking at this picture right now. You can play the Red 7 and you can win. So until next week, roughly 46 hours from now, we're going to go on a hiatus. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed weekend. We will go tomorrow, Life Church. Let's go. Let's go. Take care, everybody. Be blessed.